A medical devices company and a scientific instruments company are among the hidden gems that our strategist Tracey Ryniec has uncovered for us, and she's going to talk about them right now. Let's get to that medical devices company, Natus Medical. The ticker is BABY.
Right.
And that's because the devices they manufacture primarily for some type of screening in newborns?
Yeah, hearing. Hearing impairment devices, and they also do balance and sleep disorders and things like that. Mm-hmm. So they're expanding a bit here because they did just recently close on a deal to buy a balance company to enhance those opportunities that they have there. But yeah, this is an interesting little small cap company. They've been around since 1989 and they're headquartered in California. Mm-hmm. There's only about 3 estimates on it. And I'd never heard of it before, even though they've been around all this time.
No.
So I love this Hidden Gem segment because I still continue to find new companies too, even after all these years. And this is one where the analysts are pretty bullish going into next year. This year, it's good, but they like next year because of the acquisition, and they do feel like there's still some value here, even though it's trading at 21 times. The estimates are rising. We got a Zacks rank of a number 2, which is how I discovered it, because mm-hmm. I want that good rank in there. Mm-hmm. And then I put up the charts with the price to consensus. You can see they were doing real good growth, and then last year kind of slowed down a bit. Then they had the acquisition. So hopefully this growth story returns a bit. Supposed to see double-digit, about 10% growth this year. So the stock isn't real cheap given the growth trajectory, which isn't bad, but 21 times, 10%. If it pulls back a little bit, I'd be more interested. They haven't reported yet, so we'll kind of see what they say going forward here. But yeah, I kind of like this area, and this is a very unique niche.
Yeah. I have to ask you, though, for investors who maybe aren't familiar, when you say a small number of analysts covering a company, this one has 3, the next one you're going to talk about has only 1.
Yeah.
Is that important in the decision-making for the investor as far as considering these stocks?
Yes and no. It depends. It just means they're usually a smaller cap, so there's only so many analysts. They tend to cover the larger because that's where all the focus is on. It's on the Apples and the Amazons and all of that. So they put all their resources into those bigger companies. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily, it's not good or bad, but it does mean because fewer eyes are on it, that's why it's more hidden. Yeah, right. And why I never heard of it. And it does give you a little bit less information, though, because obviously you're getting more reports from analysts and stuff because there's just more of them for the bigger companies. So you do have to kind of dig a little deeper to try to get information on these companies. That's one of the downsides. Doesn't make them any less worth considering as far as investing goes. No, definitely not.
Okay, that was an important point because many times people will say to me, well, it's only got one analyst covering it, and So that's why I wanted to ask you that. All right, so Coherent, Inc. is the scientific instruments company. Yeah, this is a laser company, and they're in a whole bunch of areas. They've been around since 1966, and I never heard of them either. They're also in California-based. I guess I was going to the West Coast this time. But yeah, they have very interesting trajectory here because this year, 2016 was huge growth, 78% earnings growth in 2016, and another 25% expected in 2017. You can see I put the estimates up here, real nice jump in the estimates. This is the one with only the one estimate on Zacks.com, and so you're betting on this one analyst kind of knowing what's going on, but they listen to the conference calls and all of that. Sure. Normally you wouldn't see this kind of gain unless something good was going on. So I like the story. They're also a Zacks rank 2 because these rising earning estimates. And then I also put up the price and consensus here. It looks a little bit better than the prior one we just saw because of the good growth for last year and coming up for this year. Shares have really soared on this one. They're at new 52-week highs, but if you get a pullback, could be interesting. Also trading at 21 times, so again, not cheap, but you have a much better growth story here. The lasers are used, as I said, in everywhere.
I saw them using industrial for like welding, and then aerospace, and just all these many areas. I kind of have laser on the brain because I just watched that movie Real Genius. Remember that thing from the 1980s where the college students build the laser? These are much more advanced than that one, I have a feeling. So yeah, I like this area. I like both of these companies, and I'm intrigued enough, to continue to look at them.
But do you own them?
I do not yet.
Okay. Thanks for that. Don't forget, there is a ton more stock information on our website, Zacks.com. So if you haven't checked it out lately or at all, get on over to the homepage, and that's the starting point to look at commentary, data, and more. With Tracey, I'm Terry Ruffalo.